Hey there, welcome to Go Green Hub. My name is George, and over here I've got my great friend and business partner, Stan.
Yes, hello. How you doing? It's a great day at Go Green Hub, and we intend to give you a lot of information about going green, about electric vehicles, about e-bikes, about golf carts, about hybrids, about all kinds of electric vehicles. We intend to give you the best information, the latest information in innovations. So, Go Green Hub, and it's the 6th of July, 2023.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Stan, I'm going to share my screen here and some things that I was looking at here. I mean, Marie has a Volkswagen, and I was looking at this ID4, which is totally electric. And I remember when Volkswagen had that diesel scandal with the TDI, and basically the engineers engineered how to falsify the program in the car. So when you plug it in for emissions, it would change the engine and change everything and say, hey, you're getting tested here. You better change everything so we can pass. And since they got caught, they say, you know what? We're not going to do any more automotive diesel. We're going to focus on going electric. And when Maria was going through college, some of her business classes, I was looking over her shoulder with all the research on what Volkswagen was going to do as far as their goals to have electric and batteries and all kinds of stuff. So I haven't quite sat in one of these ID4s. I plan to in the next few days or something, and I'll make a 10-minute video on that when I can. But this ID4, it's a nice looking SUV, and I mean, starts at 40,000. I mean, that's a lot of money. They say it's smarter. It's assembled here in Tennessee, and performance, function, and plenty of space. But I always, when I've had a gasoline engine, there's always been a trunk, and I believe that when you have an electric vehicle of some kind, since there's no gasoline engine, not only do you have the rear of the car, the trunk or the boot, but you also have, a bunch of storage in the front, which that seems kind of cool.
Go Green Hub. Yeah, I have a Prius hybrid, and I know that there's a back area, but they've really made a lot of improvements with the batteries and things. So yeah, the trunk space. I don't miss trunk space. In other words, okay, what else about the ID4 that you liked?
I like German made vehicles. I've owned a number of those in the past, that. And Go Green Hub. They I don't know, there's just something about the way that the Europeans think about driving as a sport rather than driving as a method to get from point A to point B. And that's why a lot of at least the older style European cars, they don't have like cup holder conveniences. They're like, no, you should be driving. You shouldn't be on your phone. You shouldn't be, screwing around with other things. But anyways, about this ID4, I'm looking, I go there when I go for service, and they're always like, yeah, go ahead and talk to one of the salespeople and go for a test drive. I says, well, really what I want to do is I want to take the car out for like a few hours. I just don't want to go around the block, because a lot of times when you take a test drive and the guy is with you, the salesperson's with you, like, okay, make a right here, turn left there. All right, let's go ahead and now we're done. And I want to take it for a ride because if I'm going to spend $50,000 of my hard-earned money and drive this thing for 5 years, I want to take a pause, maybe sit in a parking lot and smell it and push the buttons. And that, when you've got a salesperson talking to you, sit next to me, it's just it's just it's a little bit different. So as far as the ID4, what they're telling me is I can go in and just ask for maybe they might say no, but if they're not busy and they have some extras, they'll let me take this thing for several hours, like maybe go to the grocery store, pick up my kid from school, go home, throw a bunch of luggage in it. Because that's one of the things too is, can I put a cooler in it? Can I put my baby stroller? Because if I'm going to do that, I'm going to make sure that this is the right thing.
You got to have the right situation to get your baby, like this child here. How whatever you need to ensure its safety, and does it work? Does it have all the seat belts, and how do they figure out everything? I mean, really, a lot of times people get on the road and they don't know all the ins and out. And I for instance, have found that whenever I take the car out of the dealership, I always have to rearrange to go back because they set the computer different than the way I like it. Go Green Hub.
Yeah. What I found out yesterday from Marie, we were walking around Target and we need to buy a little bit larger car seat. And now they make car seats that swivel 360 degrees. So you can turn the car seat so that you can get the kid in and out easily. And then when you're ready, when he's in or she is in, my kid's a boy, of course, but you could go and like turn it to the right direction where you need it. It was, I'm like, really? And I'm thinking, we really don't need that, but hey, if she wants it, this was kind of cool.
So what do you think of the interior here?
It's kind of space age, it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like the white because my hands are always dirty and, with the kids touching it and all that, I could see that getting dirty. Really but I'm sure there's different colors.
It sure looks good though here, but you're right. The white would really get dirty fast and get all kinds of fingerprints on it and stuff. I know it wouldn't work very long, and it would be a gray or a black by itself.
Yeah, this one's a black. So there's probably two colors at least.
So what do you think as far as the monitor inside? I saw one there a few seconds ago. Is it big enough for you? Is it too big? Does that always sit up like that, or can you flatten it down?
I know on the Audis, some of the Audis, these center screens, will flatten up and go away. This one here, I'm not sure. I'll have to find out about that. But I think that the Tesla only had one big screen. It didn't have two. That was in the past. So I'll have to go and look into that and see what these EV cars, if they've got the standard, just look through the steering wheel type of gauges, your speedometer and, some idiot lights.
Yeah. So have you thought about, do you need any, if you did, and when you get this type of vehicle, do you need to make any changes in your garage as far as charging? That has always concerned me.
Yeah, absolutely. Monique, if you remember her, she bought a Tesla Model S way back when. And she paid $10,000. This is when things were cheap. The car wasn't cheap, but construction was cheap. She paid $10,000 to have an electrician run some electricity through the wall over to a charging station so she could charge this thing.
Wow, 10 grand. That's ooh.
Now, one of my neighbors down the street has a Tesla, and they just have a carport. So they have this charging station outside in the carport. It's covered. It looks really nice. It's a nice job. but they moved and they left the charging station there. And now the new people, they don't have an electric car yet.
Well, I'm sure that everybody eventually will probably have some kind of charging station. I know my golf cart, it's just electric. It has where you can just plug it into the regular 110 outlet. And
Right.
that way it will charge. It has 6 batteries in it, and that way it'll charge that way. And you can just plug it in. I guess it's pretty standard, but I guess that Tesla has the uh, charging mechanism. Do they have a patent on that or something?
You know what I heard is there's an agreement between Tesla and everybody else because of these charging stations, and they're all kind of unique, is that they're going to be using standard Tesla hookups now, or these charging stations, they're going to have the Tesla plug. And if you have an older style car that doesn't take the Tesla plug, there will be an adapter.
Oh, I
And
see.
the analogy on that is that it's like cars. Like, what if you drove a Ford and you had to go to a Ford gas station rather than being able to go to any gas station?
Yeah.
So, like if there's 10 different models, you have to go to 10 different types of gas stations. And then that would just be, it's not smart. So I think, and I just heard this a last week or so, but that'll be really nice because all the charging units will be universal.
That would be really good. You're right. You would want to go to a Tesla station all the time or a Ford station. You'd want to just go to a regular station. I know I read where one company has come out where they're going to, instead of you waiting for the charge, that they have a whole battery pack and then they take out the battery pack and just put it in new and you're like good to go almost within minutes. I don't know
I've heard of
how
that.
I don't know how that will work as far as cost effectiveness or as far as the fees or electric fees or anything, but we're in a rapidly changing world, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Go Green Hub. Yep, and I think that there's tax incentives for almost any kind of new, more efficient, from the state and the federal government here. Tax credits, $7,500. I looked at swapping out my air conditioner, and I think that there's $3,500 credit for if you replace your to an efficient air conditioner in the house.
Uh-huh. Well, speaking of changing out taxes and or changing out air conditioners and taxes and also the electricity, how about doing solar where you live?
You said solar?
Solar, yes.
Yeah, I want solar. All right, and there's several ways to go about it. I mean, first of all, it's like high pressure sales because I've had two or three of them at my house. And the last one is like they wouldn't leave. There was two of them and they wouldn't leave until I actually filled out the credit app, and they sat here for 30 minutes after the presentation waiting for the credit report to come back. And and their bottom line is like, why don't you just give me the bottom line? What if I could write you a check for this? What if I have a home equity line of credit? I could just pay for it. How much is it? And they wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't tell me until after my credit report came back and so forth. And they're like, oh, and then it ended up being $70,000. And I'm like, that's outrageous. But I will go with solar on my house one of these days. And, they've got those ugly panels that go up on the roof. Tesla also has a solar roof tile. And that's really cool because it's hail proof. And, you can choose the tile. They look identical, but some of them are active where they will charge and other ones are not active. where they're just kind of like blank panels, and they're almost forever panels, and they look really nice. They look really
Uh-huh.
nice.
So what else you got going besides Volkswagen ID4? Anything else that you're looking at?
Yeah, let's go over here to this Jackery. Since you asked about home solar,
Wow.
this is like a little home generator, solar generator, kind of like if you go to those gasoline ones, or if you want to run if you're at the park or you've got a generator for some tools and you're out in the desert or out in the wilderness. So the new thing is these portable solar generators. And again, thinking about my house, and if I'm going to go 30, 60, 70,000 on my entire house, what about something like this for 5,000? Now, this won't run the entire house, but it will run my refrigerator, my freezer, and a small air conditioner for the family room. And in an emergency, this could work out just fine. And it's portable. It's
And it's
quiet.
portable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's portable. So if I go, in my camping, and instead of the camper having, you can put the solar panels on top, or you can just take these solar panels here and spread them out, charge up your battery. Then at night, in the daytime, you can have air conditioning and heat without the loud generator in the campsite.
Mm.
So these new Jackeries, everyone's heard of lithium ion batteries. But what's nice about these new ones here is, if I can get down to the thing, they are
Go Green Hub.
lithium iron phosphate.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right.
So instead of 2,000 cycles, they'll take 4,000 cycles.
Wow.
So they're a whole lot more efficient. They last longer. And, again, there's a big one here. You can see how they got the campsite set up right over here. But there's this one, and they have this small one. And if you put the two together, not only do you get 110 volts out of the big one, you put the second one on there, you either get more 110 volts, like more energy, more kilowatts, it will last longer, or you double them up in series, and you can get 240 volts out of it, and you can run a welder.
Wow.
And you can continue to stack them, and just get some more panels and stack them. Here they've got, like, indoor, you could have it, again, sitting on the counter. There's no fumes. It's quiet, and put it right next to your refrigerator. Run that.
Hmm. In other
The
words,
front.
you get it, you charge it up, and then you run your refrigerator instead of off the grid.
Well, in an emergency,
Oh,
you won't have a
okay.
grid. All right. But it's always good to cycle these things regularly, like once a week, once a month, or something like that.
What do you mean by
To
cycle? I'm sorry. Please.
cycle means that you will disconnect them from the grid, plug in something, an appliance of some kind, and drain it all the way to zero.
Drain it all the way to
All the
zero.
way to zero, and then charge it back up. And because, like, even cell phones now, they probably got past this, but if your cell phone is full charge, you use it, and then it goes down to maybe 50%, you charge it, 50%, charge it, 50%. Some of these older style batteries will have a memory.
Yeah, I
So
don't know if they gotten rid of that memory.
they probably say they have, but there's got to be some kind of law of diminishing returns, where once it's new, it's
Interesting.
fantastic, and then after it gets older, it just doesn't work as well.
Law of diminishing returns. I know that's what my wife is experiencing on her iPad, because right now it just registers at about 70% power charge left, and then it just shuts down. And I tell
Yep.
her, you need to take it to a computer store and find out, because I don't know if that's fixable or worth fixing or not.
Yeah.
Go Green Hub.
See, they've got a small model here for 800. I mean, these things are still expensive, but if again, like here, these people are at the beach. They got a little portable unit here. They got a laptop, and they're out there watching a little movie on a projector. That's kind of cool.
I
So
guess,
that kind of
yes, it would be. Yeah.
yeah. So I've got a couple more to share here. I've got some Tesla and some Mitsubishi. All right, we left off on this Jackery, but let's go over here to Tesla. Go Green Hub. Yeah, they've got some. They're good at their marketing and stuff like that. I mean, this is just showing all kinds of excitement. I've even seen races, Dan. Have you? I don't know the audience out there. If you've seen some races where they've got like a Tesla Model X, Model S, that is, it's in Sam, and they're racing a Corvette. They're racing a Ferrari, and the Tesla wins up to the top speed, and then barely the gasoline engine barely just wins because it will go. It has a little bit faster top end, and it takes some time for it to catch up.
Really?
So,
The Tesla is able to accelerate that much?
oh yeah, yeah. It'll. They're racing these things. Yeah.
So let's go on to that. I see there's a federal tax credit. What does that mean?
$7,500 federal tax credit. Let's go there.
So is that still in existence or is that passed?
No, it's good right now. It's good for 2023. It will be on your 2023's taxes. And here you would go and review this is in the United States now, the IRS website to see what's actually what you have to do. But basically, get some of the requirements. And a lot of this stuff that I remember, some of the requirements is that the batteries need to be manufactured or assembled here in the United States. So there are a lot of production requirements that they've got in order to get the tax credits. The Americans or the people in the United States are the ones that actually have to build these things. So that way it keeps everybody here working and keeps the money in the house, in the family.
It keeps the money in the nation rather than send it to somewhere else that may be supporting other type of conflicts that we don't really want to support.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it shows here like AGI is adjusted gross income limitations. 300,000 for married couples filing jointly, 225. It's just a head of household, 150 for everybody else. And then there's local and state and so forth. So, going back to these here. 1 second. And I'm trying to.
Well, I looked at a Tesla, but I decided at that time I wasn't ready for it or wasn't ready for me because it's all electric. And I was always concerned with charging stations. And I know that eventually we're going to move from we're trying to move away from internal combustion engines. And I think that it would be good to look at electric vehicles, but I think it's going to be a while before we really have a total continental or within the United States where we have charging stations set up where we could go on long distance trips without thinking about, well, are we going to be stuck in the middle of the Midwest or something like that? I don't know if I'd want.
Well, one of the other things too, with at least the Teslas, from visiting the dealer and talking to them, the air conditioning, because we live in the desert, Southwest. We're in the Arizona, and it's hot. Like it's 110, 112 degrees today. And with your phone app on this Tesla, you can have the air conditioning turned on early. And they say that it doesn't use that much power. But if
Really?
you live somewhere where it's cold or it's the winter time, heat is a killer for these electric vehicles. If you need to turn on the heat, your battery charge goes down really quick.
Really? So what's the difference between the let's say running an air conditioner and producing heat? Why would
So an
that
air
consume so
conditioner,
much electricity?
yeah, an air conditioner uses a motor to spin a compressor. And then, of course, you have the fan that blows the cool air into the car. When you have heat, you actually have to heat up an element, which is resistance, and that's what makes the heat. And so it takes a lot of current to make some elements blowing hot. And then, of course, you have the fan that blows that hot air over you. So it's the heating elements is what draws up all that power. Think of your stove. You have an electric stove and you turn that on, those elements that are inside there, they turn red hot.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
because of resistance. And that just you if you look at your power meter on your house with it off and then turn the four of them on full blast, you'll see that thing spin really fast.
Wow. I didn't know that. Well, maybe that's why I never really liked using a dryer that much
Mm-hmm.
because maybe it just uses. Well, is that hooked to the 220?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably why. It
Yeah.
needs more heat.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things. So, anyways, this Model S, these are 100 grand, I think. And then the Model X, this is their SUV, and this has the Gulf string, Gulf. What do they call it? Um, Gulf wing doors where they open up. They don't open out.
What's the
At least,
advantage of that opening up?
um, yeah, I don't know really.
Okay. What was that other Back to the Future vehicle?
This
What was
one?
it? No,
Oh,
the
the DeLorean.
DeLorean. That opened up, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was always a good.
Yeah.
There was a great movie and a good story, and I really like the DeLorean.
Yeah.
I never got into one, but they always looked pretty good. It wasn't. It was different than Prelude to a Batmobile.
Right. So here, check this out, Stan. These are the solar panels, that regular solar panels, and Tesla makes regular solar panels. But if you look at their solar roof, Go Green Hub, right over here. Let me see if I can get some pictures. It looks like a regular roof.
Yeah, it does.
See that? I think that that's really cool. And I have an older historic house, and putting solar panels all over it would be an eyesore. So having something like this,
Where it's able to take on the elements, huh?
yeah, this is their solar roof right here, and this is
Oh,
a tile roof, and this is like an asphalt type roof or something.
so it absorbs the energy, huh?
Yeah, it's literally destructive, just indestructible.
Wow. I wonder what type of material that's made of.
Well,
And let's go up and does it say anything about it as far as what the elements?
it's both glass solar tiles and steel roofing tiles.
Wow. Wow. Longevity and corrosion resistant to your roof. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And then of course, they've got a team, they'll come out and they will do a drawing on your house, and figure out like how much you need and the direction and all that kind of stuff, because you don't need solar on all. That's what I was saying earlier about some of the roofs actually are active and they will generate, and other ones are passive, which are just there to look just like solar, but they don't have all the stuff in it. And then of course, you get these things that this is how it gets wired up and goes in your stuff, and then your house or it's on the phone.
Go Green Hub. It's on the phone. Well, that's where you can monitor it and things like
Yeah.
that. So the fire rating, what does that mean? Is that
Well, some it's let's just say that if there was a forest fire, like in California or something like that, or Canada right now, and if there's embers that land on your roof, you don't want it to burn a hole into the house and light the house on fire. So these things here have fire rating that because they're steel and glass,
oh,
and that
okay.
stuff doesn't glass and steel doesn't burn.
Doesn't well, I don't think it does.
Right.
Wow. So it has
Um,
a 25-year power warranty. That'd be pretty good.
yeah, isn't that? I mean, even if you paid 50,000, that's
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about Go Green Hub. And
that's right.
today is the 6th of July, 2023 at Go Green Hub. And we're talking about the advantages or disadvantages, the ins and outs, all the stuff that's happening as far as going green, eco-friendly, electrified. Electrified. I don't know, for some reason, I really like that, electrified. And we have the hub is really what it's all about. We have uh, e-bikes, we have also hybrids, we have electric vehicles, we have everything as far as that we're going to talk about. And here we have solar energy, batteries. We will try to keep everyone informed as to the ins and outs of the electrified, eco-friendly industry.
Yeah.
Go
Um,
Green Hub.
yeah. Back to this Jackery thing here. They have an off grid, which, yeah, I think that's just a little farther down on their page. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's all kind of cool. Mitsubishi has got a plug-in hybrid, and we'll be doing some in-depth videos on this. Uh, it's a hybrid, it has a gasoline engine in it, and you can also plug it in. And
So the
electric, of
gasoline
course,
engine is like a 2.0 V4 or a
I'm
four
sure that
cylinder.
I'm sure it's a four-cylinder engine, and that it has electric motors that go to the wheels, and it also has the transmission with a direct drive gearbox that goes from the engine all the way to the wheels. And this doesn't really, I mean, we'll go over this more, but for me right now, what I could tell all the Go Green Hub watchers out there is this doesn't sound that great, because you plug it in and then maybe you get 50 miles, 60 miles, which is all electric, and then the engine has to turn on. So it's not entirely, like plug it in, charge it, and you've got electric all day long. And if you're going to run out, then the engine starts. It's not like that. The engine starts up kind of right away.
Well, it's also, to me, the security of knowing you're not going to get stuck somewhere running out of a charge. To me,
Sure.
that is really that I think that's in the back of most Americans' mind is it can I rely on this not to run out of power? Am I going to get stuck somewhere out in the middle of nowhere? Now that's why I like my Prius hybrid is because I can not only get great mileage, it does have an internal combustion engine, a gas engine, and but yet it gets about 56 miles per gallon. And I know that I can be out in the middle of nowhere, and as long as I have power and engine, I can get I can get through the desert. Put it that way, and I
Yeah.
think that's really important.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a good idea, but I agree with you, Stan, on your Prius. That would be the way to go because,
For now,
yeah. Hmm.
because of the charging stations
Yep.
availability. And like you said, maybe even putting a charging station in your home might be another added expense. What would be the cost effectiveness of buying a total electric car or vehicle versus an hybrid versus an internal combustion or a diesel engine?
Yeah.
I mean, what is the where do most people want to put their money?
Yeah. I consider seriously, I mean, for just around town taking the kids to school, I think the electric vehicle would be just fine. But, going out, you have to consider, where are you gonna charge it? And I know that there's different types of charger. There's these superchargers, which will charge it 80% in 20 minutes or something like that. Um, and there might be a small bank of those, about eight, but then there'll be another 8 or 12 of the regular charges where you might need to be there for 2 or 3 hours to get this
Yeah,
80% charge. And, of course, when you're traveling, everyone's going to go and take the good ones, you know,
yeah,
and then
that's
and it's like, and you get stuck like in Yuma or something like that. It's 100, it's 200, it's 125 degrees. You want to go from Phoenix to San Diego, and you're in Yuma charging up, and you're like, all right, now I've got to, where's the charger? You have to wait. And what do? You go into McDonald's for 3 hours and look out the window, wait for someone to leave, and then hurry up, run out, and move your car over. That's And then the
that,
grid going down. I mean, in Texas a couple of years ago, where they had that ice storm and took everything out, and now
well,
Texas is
even
having
now when
heat
they
waves.
got all the heat,
Yep,
Go
exactly.
Green Hub will help you. We will help guide you so you can get through the heat and through the cold and through the winter and whatever. Because we're here to give you some good thoughts, some great information,
That's right.
eco-friendly. Go
That's right.
Green Hub.
So I'm gonna go over to Google here, Stan. Actually, give me 1 second.
So, what did you think of that little logo?
I like the logo.
Okay, go.
One of the other things that I have run across is this has to do with going green. The Go Green Hub in automotive, not just the electric cars, but now they're having hydrogen powered cars. So they're keeping the internal combustion engine, but of instead of using the batteries and electricity and all that, it's now going to produce water as all that. And they say it's easy to convert the hydrogen or whatever to make the hydrogen and all that. So let me take 1 second here and I will share my screen.
All right. Sharing screens is always good.
Yeah, back over here. Um, Let me just get this going here. We're going to go hydrogen vehicles, pros and cons. All right, let me just want to do the Google search. So I typed in here the hydrogen vehicles pros and cons. And you can see there's um, a lot of sponsored stuff here because, they just, everyone wants a piece of the action.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So over
It's going to
here,
be a while
they
before it's a reality. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Toyota apparently says that the Japanese have got some great things, but they say here hydrogen is abundant and can be made from renewable energy. The cons, it's a space age technology. Right now, it's expensive, and acceptable range requires extremely high pressure onboard hydrogen storage. And there's few places to refuel, of course.
Yeah.
Um, so we're just gonna have to see how that works out.
It's going to be another 7 to 10 years, do you think?
I would think at least that, yeah. But it takes that long to test all these electric things, anyways. I mean, we've had electric cars for some time.
Oh,
They're just
yeah.
kind of getting, um,
They're kind of
they're
getting to the point where they're popular enough that it's worth to manufacture or worth to be widely distributed.
yeah, exactly. So here is Car and Driver magazine. We'll get over to that. And there's articles all over the place. You can find this stuff. It's getting pretty popular, actually. And apparently, here they say that there's only about 15,000 hydrogen powered vehicles in the US right now that are on the road. And most of them are, I said, all of them are in California.
So, do you
But
think is a uh, hybrid car is that considered an EV or is that an EV just all electric plug-in?
a hybrid is going to be it's sounds like it would be a gasoline engine that has some help from another fuel source, which would be electric or something like that.
Or
I
is
would
it the
think
other way around where we have an electric battery source, fuel source, and it's backed up by a gasoline engine?
okay.
All right, because that's the way I look at it, hybrid. Is that up until like 35 miles an hour, that you have an electric motion or electric power. And then after 35, then that's when the gas engine kicks in, unless it needs to recharge the batteries that run the motor.
Right.
And
Right.
the motor battery is different from, I think the like an air conditioning battery or the starting, the other type.
Yeah.
In other words, it has two different batteries: a regular battery and then the motor type battery.
So, right here, the definition of hybrid, according to Wikipedia, a hybrid
Okay.
vehicle is one that uses two or more distinct types of power, such as submarines that use diesel when on surface and batteries when they're submerged.
Hmm. Wow.
I never thought of it that way.
I never thought of it either. Um, okay. People ask a lot of questions. An ICE, internal combustion engine, an electric motor.
This over here from Car and Driver, quite simply, a hybrid combines at least one electric motor with gasoline engine to move the car. And its system recaptures energy via then that would continue on there. So it's two sources of power really.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, so what next? What do we? Uh,
I saw some really cool pictures of these images of these hydrogen. They got like this thing on the top here that looks really kind of cool, and I believe that's going to be the exhaust because it looks hot because it's blue.
yeah,
The thing about when you go with this hydrogen, you're still going to have oil. You're still going to have all these moving parts inside there that's what's nice about the electric is, the motors are attached to the wheels. There's not all that garbage that, all this is expensive. It wears out.
Well, and in wearing out, you have to have the new parts. All of this has to be replaced or generated new, which again uses power to manufacture the parts.
Yeah.
And that's always a concern. Just like the batteries, they're concerned with the lithium that is mined somewhere, that they're always looking for different alternatives to how to get electric storage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there again, they have now, as far as Tesla and burning, is that through the motor or through the battery? You know,
Ask that question again.
well, you know that when that sometimes the Tesla catches on fire.
Okay.
Okay, you don't know. Okay, and I
Tell
just
me
want.
more.
I don't really know how it occurs. I didn't really want to know because I've never really wanted a Tesla.
I don't know if it would be Tesla specific, but I mean, it could be the batteries, some kind of defect in these lithium ion batteries. Because that stuff's flammable. When you charge that stuff, when there's juice going through it, it does, it causes heat. Heat causes fires. Actually, a fire is heat.
Oh, really?
You
All
know,
right.
it,
So don't stick your hand in it, I guess. Anyway, I'm always. I remember about 15 years ago or 20 years ago, I first road tested a Prius, a Toyota Prius. And I says, wow, this is really the way I want to go. And I've been trying to remember exactly where I was and what I was doing that I could go road test that car. And I said then that's what I wanted. I wanted a Prius. And even when Tesla came out, I says, well, EV, well, that's pretty good, but I don't think it's worth it because of the charging situation. I really thought that almost right away. And I says, I'm not going to sign up for it. There's, unless, to me, it was a status symbol.
right.
But there again, people also thought that the hybrid car, when it came out, was a status symbol. That meant you were environmentally friendly, which I would agree. That's why we have Go Green Hub, because we want to be environmentally friendly, uh, including whether they get the materials for the car, how they put it together, all the energy that it takes to
Yeah.
put the car together. Now, there again, is it really is your carbon footprint? I don't know if that's still a term that's being used. Is that a carbon footprint? Is it worth it in buying a car? Well, of course we want to buy a car, but somehow we have to have we've only got one planet that we know of, and we need to protect it. We need to be environmentally friendly, and that's why we have Go Green Hub. And I did, as I recall, I once did have a Go Green website. That was a
What's on
long.
that website?
I don't know. It's been too long that I don't have it anymore. It's been it. Oh man, that was probably in the late '90s, 1990s that
Are
I
there
had.
any like green products, affiliate products that we could that Go Green Hub could provide or give some status to for our watchers?
I really know there is. There
Yeah.
has to be. Just like you were showing that Jackery, that solar uh, charging battery system that I think something like that would be really good to have in reserve on your
Yeah.
for in case of emergencies. And during our monsoon, that sometimes we have power outages. And like you mentioned in Texas, where they had cold weather and a lot of people suffered from it. And I think that we have to have backups for our grid system no matter where you are. It's always wise to have the grid system backup.
Yeah. One of the airplane guys that I was following years ago built an airplane, and it was a bush plane, so it would, fly into short fields and all that. And he had put solar panels on the roof
Of his plane?
of the wings. It was on the
Uh-huh.
top of the wings. There were solar panels, flexible, really, really thin, flexible solar panels. And then he also had electric motorcycles, like off-road motorcycles, and he had two, and one would hang from each wing, and then they would plug in. So as he flew, of course, there's no shade because he's above the clouds. It would charge everything, then he would land. They get the bikes off, and they could ride around for a couple hours and then hang the bikes back up, and away you go.
I guess people are really innovative, aren't they? That sounds like almost like Back to the Future type
Yeah, well,
of it.
this guy was really resourceful and has big ambitions, and he's done well.
I like the people who are resourceful. Um, yes, it would be. It's great to be resourceful. I think that it's also great to be a little bit conservative as far as energy is concerned, and being protective, eco-friendly to our environment, and then also to be electrified. And that's what brings us back to Go Green Hub. That's our channel. And today is the 6th of July, 2023.
So what else do you think? I would say we wrap this up in about 15, 20 minutes, Dan. Put us really close to 11 o'clock. What else do you think we might find? What other kind of videos do you think we might have on our Go Green Hub YouTube channel?
Well,
We covered some automotive, right? A little bit of battery backup, or what do they call it? Like a home backup generator. We covered a little bit of a solar roof and so forth. Maybe one of these days we cover something that has to do with the real cost of solar, because there's always someone there are soliciting you. It's a sales scam almost, where, like I said, those guys showed up at my house, and I was entertaining. I want to know what this cost, and they wouldn't tell me until my credit score came back, and then they reverse engineered based on your power usage. You'll save $20 a month, and they backed up and they multiplied out. Well, this is what the unit's going to cost.
Well,
So I'll say that another way, right? So if I'm using $200 a month worth of electricity, this solar thing, I've got $200 my regular bill. The solar thing would actually like zero out my meter for that $200, and then plus give me a $20 credit with the power company. So $200 a month times 25 years plus some interest, it just got outrageous.
it does. But you have to decide, is it cost effective? Is it in the long run?
Well, the sales pitch makes it cost effective. They're like, hey, you're going to save yourself $20 a month.
Well, let's let me share screens. We were just going on. Uh, Here we were talking about different things. I just typed into the search, and Twitter says that in Twitter, Toyota claims that battery breakthrough and potential boost for electric cars that gives a range of 745 miles that charges within 10 minutes. Now that's pretty cool. A solid state battery,
Yeah.
a solid state battery. And this is coming out of Toyota. And they, of course, they're always going to make innovations and changes. Um, uh, and of course, we're all going to be skeptical of that. Uh, and of course, we're going to cover when these solid state batteries are going to come out, and are they cost effective, and do you want to you probably will want to know more about them, so you can rest assured that Go Green Hub will help you get that. And here we are today at the 6th of July, and we're going to cover topics like that. We are uh, whether you would get a good trade in for your electric vehicle as time goes on, or would you be better off doing a hybrid? Or what about e-bikes? I've always wanted an e-bike, but it just didn't seem to make sense if I have a wife and she wants to go do something, or with you have kids that they want to, it's hard to get them on an e-bike.
Yeah, I've remember seeing some years ago, I think it was before COVID, about an e-bike. This was recorded in San Francisco. So it was a San Francisco-based company, I think. And their sales pitch, or their video at least, was San Francisco's got a lot of mountain hills, a lot of hills in the downtown or wherever, right, in the city. And so this one guy is struggling. It looked like, a 30% going uphill, right? It was steep, and he's pedaling and sweating. And I ride a bike. I ride a mountain bike, and going uphill is hard. Okay, no flat about it. Like the Tour de France, those guys are tough. So this guy's riding his bike, struggling, and here comes this other guy dressed up in this guy going up a hill. Had a helmet, was Tour de France type of guy in his suit, his tights, shoes, everything, right? And so he's going up a 30-degree hill here, and then here comes another guy right here coming up, dressed in a suit with loafers on an e-bike, passing him up with no effort at all. Oh, it was I looked at that, I says, man, that was a great sales pitch, because literally, if you're going to work, it's your transportation. Why not get an e-bike and go a little bit faster and make it a little bit easier for you? Why not?
Why not? If you can have a place to store it, and in addition to everything else, the only thing is that sometimes it rains or storms or whatever, and you might have to deal with the weather. But there's always a weather forecast that you can take into account and dress accordingly, and especially in trips around town. I used to have a moped. That was quite some time ago. Or you could get an electric scooter. They rather than having it as a gas powered, which has so much emissions.
Right.
There's so much emissions in that. Is it a two-stroke engine? I'm not even sure.
They're loud, they smoke.
Yeah.
There's no way that could be good for the environment.
And that's why I think California outlawed the leaf blower as a motorized, or internal combustion engine. And we're going to talk about all these topics on Go Green Hub. And I got to say this again, we're coming to you on the 6th of July, 2023 at Go Green Hub.
So, I've always liked gasoline. We're talking about yard tools here. And, California propositions, get rid of all the weed eaters, that kind of thing. Besides the dust from the leaf blowers, I've transitioned into an electric leaf blower. And, there's some advantages and disadvantages there. I have an irrigation pipe where it goes down, it goes across, and comes back up, and it's full of water. And so in order to get the water out of there, you got to blow it out. Okay. And with my gasoline powered leaf blower, I could put that blower in there and turn it full blast. It will blow all the water out of it. Now I don't have that anymore. And I have an electric battery powered from Milwaukee. And I stick that in there. What I've noticed is they call it unloading. When you push the gas on the switch on the blowers, they blow out air. But if you and the propeller, the fan does work, it pushes air out. But if you cover up that end, if you stick it in the irrigation pipe where there's water, then the blower unloads, which means it no longer blows, but the motor starts spinning faster. And that is a disadvantage, which I'm like, okay, now if I really need some power to blow something, like even dryer vents, there's a thing right now where they say don't use these leaf blowers to clean out all the lint out of your dryer vent. And the gasoline ones will actually, if you do that, will actually make pressure and blow the stuff out because of their design. But now you're in your house, right, with the two-stroke and the fumes. If you use the electric one, it's not going to do it. But our channel, Go Green Hub, I think those are other things that we should talk about here are yard tools, because chainsaws, my neighbor has an electric chainsaw. I have a gas one, and I use it maybe twice a year when I need to. So when I was camping recently in the firewood, there was some logs. All the small logs were already, they were already foraged from the people that got there before me. But there were some big ones that were unmovable. And I was thinking, a chainsaw would be great. But you're camping, it's quiet, you're listening to the wind go through the pine trees. To start up one of these chainsaws would be rude to the rest of the people relaxing. But I'm thinking, if you had an electric one, you could probably you don't have to worry about gas, fuel, nothing. Just bring a charged battery, and then you could cut up your firewood. And actually, don't know if I told you this, but I put it was about a 12 or 16-inch diameter log that I found. And it was about probably 5 feet long, pine. And again, it was big. And I didn't have a saw, I didn't have an axe. And they have these big fire pits, which are like 55-gallon drums, which are cut low to the ground. I put this piece of pine on there, and it's hanging out about 1.5 feet off of each end. And I got a fire going. I put this in there. Well, the sap in the pine stand caught fire, and the fire almost got out of control because the sap started burning the tree in both ends. It just went up, and I'm thinking, and we live in Arizona here, and you always have to be careful for fires. And I kind of panicked.
No kidding.
So if I had the chainsaw, if I had the battery powered chainsaw or whatever, I could have cut that up.
Wow, that's really something. Hey, look at we need to tell you what Go Green Hub is all about. So here it is. It's our channel description. Go Green Hub is a go-to source for updates, information, recommendations on all things e-green, cars, trucks, EVs or electric vehicles, e-bikes, drone, and solar related. Our videos. How
about we put in? We need to add there. Put in yard tools and solid state batteries.
How do you spell TOOLS?
TOOLS. And I wrote down solid state batteries also because, Stan, I bet you when the time comes, that will become a viral video. And if we can put a few of those out, we'll have a head start.
Well, I also got to say drone. I think drones aren't they all electric?
Yes.
So we have drones, and drones are going to be, I think, the delivery pattern of the future. Instead of lots of drones from Amazon. How does that sound? So our videos will also cover a wide range of sustainable transportation. What else should we include here? Sustainable transportation and what else?
Um,
So we're with you, yard tools and batteries. Uh, what else besides sustainable transportation are we going to do
well, what
here?
about portable generators? I mean, that's solar related still. Those are portable generators, solar roof tiles.
Let's do
There's
that.
actually a heat pump hot water heater.
Go Green Hub. Well, okay. Go Green Hub. Go Green Hub. Okay, I added portable generators, but I'm thinking of our focus is
Transportation, yeah.
transportation, and we
Well,
want
we've
to
got the
help.
e-bikes, right? You
Yeah.
got e-bikes on there. Um,
So at Go Green Hub, we want to help educate consumers who want the best of the world we live in. And I want to say that we're going to subscribe to watch our latest videos posted almost every day.
yeah, fantastic. What time is it? 10:52. We'll go for another 8 minutes, Dan, and then we'll get off of here.
Okay, very good.
That way we know we have enough of that. Um, God, I had a thought and I just lost it. Um, one of my airplane channels, and this guy's got this sense of humor. His sense of humor is entertaining all along the way he talks about things and all that. And apparently, one of the videos was how to convert an electric motorcycle into an airplane in 2,000 hours.
Wow.
This guy is just something else who does that. That comes from AV Web. If anyone wants to look into that, but I didn't watch the video because I just wasn't interested in that kind of fun at the time. But there's all kinds of I remember delivering newspapers, Stan. I had the airport route. I was delivering the newspapers in the airport, and the airports have all these concourses, and so I had a four-wheel cart I had to push. Well, there was a guy who was not going to call him lazy, but he was ingenious, and he went about it, had his cart, and he had put an electric motor on a car battery and had all that on this cart. So you'd have the newspapers that was electrically powered. You still had to steer and walk with it, but it was almost like one of those what do they call those two-wheel things that the security sits on that they lean forward? What do they call those things?
Sorry, I'm at a
Anyway, you know
loss.
what I'm talking about. You've seen them.
I may have. Okay.
Yeah, if you're there, let's go to this here. Two,
Well,
three.
we forgot to talk about golf carts. They're electric. I should put those in our description, right?
Yeah, they're like this, Stan. Got the name of these things here. Segway.
Oh yeah, Segway. There,
Yeah,
that's yeah, Segway.
yeah. So
Do people still use those?
um oops, hold on. I just dropped a bunch of stuff on my keyboard. Segway.
Go Green Hub. Go Green Hub.
So yeah, these things here are And what else have I come across lately, Stan? The one wheels. All right. Again, they've got
Oh
these,
yeah,
these one wheels. Let me do this. Go to one of these one wheels. Um,
yeah,
so they have these one wheel things. And, I've, again, the airplane guys, these things here, they can strap them with bungee cord. They do it better than that, but they strap these things under their wings. They've got where the struts and the holders are at. They go in there, they strap it down really tight. And then they fly somewhere, then they land. They're bush planes. And these things here, as you see, this guy's on the beach. It's not real soft, but it's not wet, real wet, but he's just going forever on it thing. And he said that these guys say that they can go about 3 to 4 miles on a charge.
wow.
So yeah, you got these things here. This is all EV. If you want to add that, Stan, add these one wheels,
I will.
Segway. I would throw that on the list, Stan.
You're right. One wheels. I totally didn't think of that.
And those
Is
are,
that one wheel? Is that one word or
yes,
yeah? Hey,
because that's a whole nother thing. There is, um, what about like getting to school? I mean, it was the skateboard, right? You could take a skateboard to school and put it in your locker. And what if you're half a mile from school and you get one of those little, I mean, here I guess that this Segway also has these, um, go karts and these other whatever they're calling those things. This here's a lawnmower. I was in Ace Hardware, $1,100 for a Milwaukee brand electric lawnmower. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. We can go on here also. Kick scooters for young kids. Uh and then of course these one wheels here. That's all that. Um
in fact, I saw a guy the other day who was on a one wheel with his probably less than 6 months, less than a year old baby in a carrying it on his let's say on his belly on a harness. Oh, and his arms around it, and he was doing this one wheel, and I go, man, I hope you don't hit a bump or anything like that, and have to. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that with a child carrying it on a one wheel. I don't know if I could do that. Anyway,
uh,
we're going to cover a lot of topics at Go Green Hub. Go Green Hub, and today is the 6th of July, 2023.
Thank you everybody for watching this. Hope you subscribe, give us a comment, thumbs up. All that stuff is great for our analytics. Have a fantastic day.